Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
All right, Jacob, are we live?
We're live.
We're live.
Always live.
I'm actually really excited about this topic.
Me too.
I got a little
I don't know what
fuzzy
it
on
is, but I'm very excited about it.
This could be a 5-minute discussion. It could be an hour.
Let's make it 5 minutes.
Knowing you, it's going to be 2 hours.
Oh, man. He's right.
No, I do think this will be a little bit of a shorter one.
Okay.
Maybe just a little commute thing. This is going to go back to us. And guys, we've talked about this a lot. I guess we pride ourselves in continuing our education and updating our opinions and what we teach.
We're not definites anymore.
Exactly. And it's because we're...
Absolutists, I mean.
Yeah. It's because we're current. I was about to say we're currently in the same industry. We're currently, building and growing a business just like everyone listening to this. We're not going to.
What are you trying to say?
No. We're just going to move on from that.
Just say it. I'm actually curious.
No, I mean
We're not just educators educating.
no, I was gonna say we're not has-beens. We're
Oh,
not
yeah,
people
yeah.
who did it,
God, I
a
hope
while
not.
ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking of anyone in particular.
I
there.
was.
I was just we're just building our business like
Yeah.
everybody else.
On the ground, maybe in different markets, but we're all in the same team.
Yeah. So
We're trying to hit goals of how many weddings we want to shoot a year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, where I was going with that is our opinions change.
Often. Maybe a little bit
many
too
times.
often.
A little bit too much.
It makes educating.
I'm-
It makes making content hard because you post. You're like, I disagree.
I disagree with myself there, and this was last
Even
month.
podcast clips that Tanner posts.
Oh,
I'm like,
dude.
I disagree with that.
I
Actually,
know, dude,
He's like,
like-
you said it. I'm like, that was
Yeah,
a week ago.
Yeah, Tanner will post some stuff. And I'm just like, did I say that?
I wouldn't have said
I
that.
don't believe that. I don't believe that. Sorry. And then everyone's calling us out. But no, all this to say we update our opinions. So this one is kind of growing off that of something that we preached really, really hardcore until it kind of bit us in the butt enough times where we're starting to think like,
What topic is
Maybe-
this?
is
the peak design.
tripods. Yeah.
Because of our San Francisco
Well,
experience.
multiple times. Also New York experience as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're talking about tripods. We will talk about the brands because, this isn't sponsored by anybody and they're a great brand. This isn't affiliated. Okay.
We should get YC Onion to sponsor our podcast. Reach out to YC Onion.
So,
Don't have headphones. I don't know what you're saying.
so at the time of
Guys, this is going to be the most engaging tripod discussion you've ever heard in your entire life.
at the time when you're listening to this, we will have a YouTube video out talking about a new tripod that we just reviewed. And
What if we don't?
well,
How confident are you it's going to be
no, I'm
finished?
positive.
Okay.
There's already a draft ready. Like it's,
Oh, great.
yeah. So you'll be seeing that on YouTube. And that was
Other YouTube channel.
And that was the YC Onion Pinta Peak 75. Beautiful
How'd you
tripod.
say it?
I know, it's Pinta. I thought it was Pinetta,
I was saying Panetta.
but every review I saw, everyone was saying Pinta.
Okay.
And so I'm like,
So the
I guess
E
I'm
is
just going to be a
silent.
sheep here and I'm just going to say,
The
Pinta.
E is silent, thus making the I not a long. Okay.
I know. But then I was like, it's coming from a brand called
Japan.
YC Onion. I was like, they're
Oh.
obviously not concerned about names,
True. Still sponsor us.
So yeah, please sponsor us. But anyway, they sent us the YC Onion Pinta Peak 75. We tested it, loved it. Like,
A couple times we tested it.
Yeah.
We first tested it. I don't know if you remember. The
No, I
very
remember.
first time I busted it out was at that Fuse wedding, like last summer.
and it's a joy. It's a beautiful thing to work with.
Heavy,
Heavy, but that's kind of like.
but
the
we're going
only
to talk
con.
about why we love that.
Yeah, and so
Con, but also definitely a pro.
it's a pro. The pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
And the reason we're giving this backstory is because even in our online course, well, it's going to be updated. It's currently being updated, as
Yeah.
you know. In the travel section, which we still will stand by, something that's really important to us is traveling lightweight. We don't like checking a lot of bags. The more things.
We had the sticks bag for a year. Hated it.
The sticks bags arguably is the reason why we got burnt out of doing wedding things. So we just wanted
Made
to
our job easier on the day of, though.
It did. It definitely did. But the more bags you have, the more things, the further you're traveling, it just makes it a hassle. And so you're just like, why am I even
Especially
traveling?
if you're running late.
Especially. So we ditched our sticks bags. If you don't know what a sticks bag is, it's just tripods, light stands, things like that. Big, bulky thing. And we went in favor of the small Peak Design travel tripod. It condenses to 15 inches, and it could just be thrown in our backpack, carry on, and we both hardly even, we just check our clothes if we have to.
Yeah, so Nate and I would walk on a plane with our backpacks and a tiny little suitcase with clothes and shoes.
And that's it. Like that's, we
And we
pride
had
ourselves-
lights, drones, tripods,
everything we need.
everything except light stands.
Yeah.
Which we ended up putting in our small little.
Right. We got little dinky
Suitcase,
light stands. And make no mistake about it, we still definitely have like priorities in traveling lightweight. It is nice.
That's what we lean towards every time.
Exactly. However, we need to talk about the cons of that because we do preach it really hard in the travel section. But if we're not talking about travel and just talking about being a wedding filmmaker, maybe more local, just getting the best tripods, we do need to have a discussion.
Yeah. The biggest pro of that is we were seduced by Larev's way of doing it. And I still stand by it. I think being able to be run and gun on your feet and being able to grab and go whenever you please.
Absolutely, I'll stand by
And
it.
we associate shot a wedding for Larev where we brought our sticks bag. And remember that ceremony? We had to run from the ceremony to the reception and
remember
beat
that.
all the guests.
Yeah.
And you had to go pack up everything because I had to go film.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the reason how they would have just been able to grab their cameras and
just
backpacks
run.
and ran.
Yeah.
But we had to pack up.
Except Larev doesn't run. Remember that?
We never ran.
Been in a hurry.
I'm just saying, walked professionally, swiftly, took a shortcut and sprinted through the woods. So that was another example. Is like, hey, like we gotta be at these weddings where like, the timeline is the whole point of the timeline is to be on your feet, quick, adapt, go, go, go. We gotta be lightweight, and I'll stand by that.
100%.
I think where I erred in that way of thinking is that not every wedding is like that. And so not every wedding requires you to have that.
Right.
The most important thing is to adapt to the situation.
Exactly.
Which we learned the hard way at 2 weddings last year.
Yeah.
That we just did our system, but every wedding's different. This is the world of live event filmmaking, not production. And so you can't control things as well. And we just brought our
Lightweight.
they're great tripods, our lightweight tripods, and the situation that we brought them for failed us.
It did.
Yeah.
So the Peak Design, again, love it. But we set it up outside at this wedding in San Francisco, notoriously windy place. And it was right when the ceremony was starting. Do you remember it started raining and it started getting insanely windy and cold?
The bride's veil almost fell off 80,000 times.
it was being ripped out of her head.
So bad.
And as a result of that, when we're looking at the clips of the bride and the groom, it's shaky, like very
I'm
noticeably
currently
shaky.
trying to fix it in Catalyst Browse. I don't know if I will be able to though.
It's still usable, but it's like borderline. Like they're gonna notice it. But
it's just embarrassing.
it is, and they'll remember. Like, yeah, it was a very windy day, but that's not an excuse for us to say like, yeah, well, our gear didn't hold up. Like it should hold up.
Not their problem.
It's not their problem. Again, I thought
Adapt
about
to the
that.
situation. Adapt to the weather.
That's
you
the
know?
only thing I think about when I was watching the edit too. I was like, that's not their problem. Like, they hired us to capture it,
Yeah.
and it was captured, but it looks like it's handheld because it's so windy.
Especially when you cut to our gimbal shots,
And they're just like,
and you're
smooth.
like, oh,
so they
there
could
is
have
a
done
way.
it. Yeah. And so,
and think about this like with Dallin and Morgan on the cliffs. I learned this the hard way with you on the cliffs.
yeah,
The wind thing. Dallin and Morgan said we're doing our vows on the cliffs. I was like, okay, there's wind, a lot of wind, every direction, and there's waves. And so I could have just shut up and said, here's a lav mic clipped on, and sorry, you chose the cliffs. It's going to sound horrible. But it's like, no, I'm going to adapt. And I learned it the hard way.
and like it's still usable. It's not like we didn't.
Yeah, it's not botched.
Yeah, I didn't like botch. Yeah. And then the other wedding was,
And you probably could have said, well, why didn't you hang your backpack under the tripod to weigh it down?
it's like I could have run back to the
could've.
car.
We
you
could
know?
have.
But like, again, it's just another thing. At that point, why don't you just have a heavier tripod?
And it just looks,
It looks a little,
that was a wedding where the DJ made me swap out our Matt Johnson XLR cord because it was blue and it ruined the vibe.
right.
I had to use a black one. Thank God Nate had a black XLR in his bag because I didn't have a backup. And so I know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to hang my backpack from the tripod because it would have ruined the whole aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's just like you go to these great lengths to be a luxury videographer, provide a luxury experience, but it's like, oh, let me grab my my school backpack.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? Why is your backpack hanging in there? Yeah.
And then the wedding at the end of December, Tyra and
Yep.
Jake, it was inside. So we're like, oh, what can go wrong? But it's in the top.
Old 200-year-old warehouse.
Yeah.
Wood floors.
Top floor.
So every step,
Creaky.
vibrates.
People walk within 20 feet of it and you can see.
And people were standing up. It
yeah.
was a full room. People were in the back standing up, which kind of pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have thought of that, because it's like, it's inside, no wind. What could possibly go wrong? And for the most part, that's probably going to be true.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're starting to think, like, what is the pro and what is the con?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it to bring back the sticks bag, bring some heavier duty tripods, or lightweight run and gun?
The biggest pro of bringing back the sticks bag is you're not just bringing it back for a tripod. You can now justify good light stands.
And with that comes better lighting.
Yeah. So you can just do more. Like, it's not just like, it opens up like, because if we got rid of the sticks bag, to use smaller tripods, we couldn't use bigger light stands.
We had to downgrade everything.
Yeah, which worked
Everything
really
was
well.
more, yeah.
Still works. But like, if you open up that opportunity again, you can now bring more, which I think it's just, we've learned, again, we no longer want to be absolutists and say, always do this, never do this. Because I think every wedding, we just kind of want to look at it and say, what does this wedding call for? Is this wedding a wedding that we need to bring a heavier tripod? Or not,
Yeah.
And then it's like, do we want to buy another do we have to have 2 tripods? Does it need the same gear?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was the nice thing about the Peak design, is that we could buy 3
Yeah.
and just not feel like it's like a lot to bring.
It's true.
But and you have the same equipment on each side, it's easy to adjust. But if you want to use the same YC Onion, you have to buy 3 of those things.
I know, and it compounds.
Or I guess 2, yeah.
Yeah, for example, a Peak Design travel tripod, a carbon fiber, it weighs barely over 2.5 pounds.
Crazy.
And so if you buy 3 of those, what are you at, like 7.5 pounds? You're not even at 8 pounds.
Barely what I curl. I'm joking.
YC Onion, however, it's like 9 pounds. And so you're like, okay, well, that's not too bad for one. But now you got to get 3 of them. We're coming up on 30 pounds that you're lugging around. Not to mention your light stands and other big stuff that all of a sudden you're probably going to want to throw in your sticks bag.
Yeah, and your cost goes up because now you're checking a big bag.
Yeah.
Unless you're like my status at Delta allows me to check up to 60 pounds domestically free.
Yeah. Which we have gone over, strangely enough, somehow.
Sometimes they're chill.
Yeah.
Just give them a little wink.
The international ones, that's, if you go
international,
if you go through
different.
France, man, those guys
or
rip you
JFK.
off. Or JFK, yeah.
Screw JFK.
But here's my thing is,
not the president of the airport.
I am okay. I'm leaning towards this. I'm okay with the heavier weight because I know for a fact, going back to kind of like the Larev wedding where it just had to be quick, the Pinta is faster than the Peak.
True.
If we had to quote unquote run somewhere, I would be faster with the Pinta than I would with the Peak.
Grab the handle.
It's literally 3 latches. Down,
and you have the handle.
And you got that beautiful handle and you just run. Whereas with the Peak, you got to pick it up. You got to do the center shaft, the 4 latches. And
the fluid head is so gentle that if you're holding the base and you're running, the camera will
exactly. Yeah. It's not, you don't trust it. Especially if you're running
on a 7200, yeah.
If you have the Pinta and it's locked in, you just grab that handle and you can just...
I love the Pinta.
I really did like that.
Do you like the Pinta more than the Manfrotto? Which I feel like is in between the weight classes of the Peak and the YC.
Is there a Manfrotto tripod with the single latch?
Maybe. It's hard to go back to that when you've tasted the Pinta.
Because I would say the Pinta over the latches. I just don't like.
If you're going to commit to a bigger
twists.
tripod, then if you're going to commit to a bigger tripod than the Peak design, why not get the one you want?
Yeah, like if you're commit to it. If you're going to commit to a bigger one, it should be easier. And that's the big thing with the Pints are like the Satchler. But we're not going to encourage anyone to buy a $2,500 tripod. It should be worth it because in my mind, the pros of the single latch and being so easy to condense and adjust the height and carry it outweighs the, I guess, literally the lightweightness of the Peak Design. It's like, oh, it's so lightweight. It's like, yeah, it's harder to carry, ironically enough, than this heavy tripod.
How high does the Pinta get?
Almost 8 feet,
Okay, so what's the Peak Design, like 6?
60 inches,
60 inches.
so 5 feet.
Wow. Yeah, see, that would have been also nice to have in New York.
Because people stand up, it's like you're never gonna like have an issue with that.
Would have
Yeah.
been really nice to have in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Peak Design fully extended is 60 inches.
Yeah. And so I think that's the principle. I think you got to analyze your needs and the quality you want to give. And I think also like what I learned from the San Francisco edit is that I really want heavier duty tripods for the bride and groom cam.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want a Peak Design for like just a back of the ceremony wide angle.
Yeah.
Because you can easily stabilize wide angle footage a lot better
But like the tight 200.
than you can 200 millimeter on a bride's face. It's going to warp.
And I feel like a big beefy tripod, it kind of looks more professional, I would say.
Yeah, so that's appearances are
sees
important
that,
to you.
They're like, yeah, no, these guys know what they're doing. Those are nice
Those are
tripods.
nice tripods. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Con, if you're in a tight space, sucks.
I know.
Like the New York wedding, I had 2 of the legs in the windowsill, and one of the legs on the ground because I had to put it up against the
know.
wall as much as I could,
I know.
and it just nooked in there really nicely.
That is another con. With the Pinta, like you can get it at that angle and you could condense the legs, but yeah, even the legs at the shortest is bigger than the whole Peak Design it compacted.
Yeah, it's tall.
So if you only have like a windowsill that's 18 inches deep or whatever, like yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So cons, but I think there's no perfect tool
No.
for some reason.
Yeah.
2025 and there's no perfect tool. But yeah, I loved.
I really like
Yeah.
it.
And Pinta or YC Onion has a complimentary
I was about to
monopod,
say, yeah, the monopod.
which is the same thing. Like our monopod video has the latch, stable.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah. So
And
I don't know.
My favorite part, sorry, but the Pinta, and this isn't sponsored by them, guys.
The latch.
I love the latch, but I love on the tripod, you don't need the quick release plate. That's
Oh.
my biggest problem
Oh my
with
gosh,
the Peak Design, which actually isn't that huge of a problem because we usually have our quick release plates for not quick release plates, but the plates for the
Peak Design.
Peak Design.
The Ronin.
always on our 7200s.
Because you can't put it.
Yeah, because we don't put our cameras on those because it needs to balance it. But with the heavier duty tripod, the Pinta, we can use our Ronin plate
You just
on the top of which I think I've read that a lot of tripods do this now, but like it's a lot more efficient.
Yeah, the implementation of
It's
it
a lot more better.
is
Yeah.
so good. It's so smooth. It just clicks right in there and it auto adjusts. But yeah, it's kind of like this thing you don't really think about because you just think that automatically the Peak Design, it's lighter, it's smaller, it must be easier to deal with. Not true.
Yeah,
I
I'd
know
say
for
not
a
true.
fact we could set up the Pinta way fast. In fact, we've tested it.
Mm-hmm.
You can set it up in 10 seconds tops. Not in our wildest dreams could we do that with the Peak Design.
Yeah, I think you're really just paying for lightweight with the Peak Design, and
Yeah,
you're compromising every other feature.
Very flimsy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you need to extend it fully, which we always do.
always do.
Every single latch is undone.
Yeah, every single time.
And so it's
yeah.
just kind of flimsy. And so that's currently on our mind of, do we bring back the sticks bag when we're trying to go to these?
So we're doing this huge wedding in April,
Yeah,
big one.
right.
Going
Going to be
to
outdoors.
overkill the crap out of it with more gear than I think we've ever brought. Want to get more cameras for it.
Mhm.
And luckily it's in St. George,
So we
4 hour
can bring-
drive. So we are going to bring the sticks bag
Yeah.
and really bring the right tools to the
Big
job.
boys.
Yeah.
I
And
think
we're
that's gonna be a
trying
great way
for
to
you
test.
guys. We're hopefully going to be able to make a job shadow out of it.
Hopefully.
Which if we do, it'll be a through the lens, not a YouTube video.
Have we had to sign anything for that? No. Are we going to? Really?
I don't think so.
That surprises me.
Does.
But yeah, I'm stoked about that.
Yeah.
That's going to be our new profile. Just everywhere.
There's a
on our
celebrity
grid.
chef. You know that shot Jay and Mac overused, that one couple during their exit?
Oh, I'll never forget that.
well, they didn't
couple.
overuse it. The photographer they worked with did.
Wait, the couple or wait,
Cheering as they walked down their sparkler exit.
the dude
The
who's way
attractive
too
guy?
good looking with
Yeah.
his shorts or
The
his
capris?
pants like a foot.
Yeah, the Caprice. That'll be us.
Yeah. let's go.
We're gonna drag that forever.
Yeah, that our entire grid is going to be.
Also,
just
has this table always been here
Yeah, who was there last? Yeah.
in the middle of the room? That was always at your side.
I mean, today it's been there the whole time.
Oh, that was so weird.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, tripods. I think we should bring it in.
It's going to be a good testing ground in April to see.
Do you think like the peak design really took off just because everyone started using it, and so everyone thought you had to use it because it's what everyone else was using?
I think yes.
And so we all just kind of gaslit, saying it's the best. We guilty of that too because everyone used it. And we didn't want to stand out.
It is nice for some things, but I think it's a mix of that. But also, it is an innovative piece of equipment. Like their little fluid head and like their,
it's a new tripod.
It is new. It's it's got cool features, but along with that, makes it harder to use. Like if I just give that tripod to someone who isn't experienced with tripod, I don't know. They're just like, how do I work this? How do I adjust the head? It's
different.
How do I adjust the little shaft? It is different because they got really crazy with the implementation, but I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think for the most part, for like generic weddings, I think it's fine. Like we've never had a problem. We really haven't had that big of a problem with it at most of our weddings.
No,
other than the setup time, and if we run into environmental issues.
I will say the head on it is.
I've always hated it.
I'm really starting to hate it.
Okay, I was gonna say that. That's my next thing. We at that first wedding we did with the YC Onion, Fuse wedding. Forget the couple's name. It's blanking on me right now. Love them. The father of the bride, which is a common thing, was pacing during his speech.
Right.
And we had only used the YC Onion for the
Kirsten and Buzz.
Yeah, we had only used the YC Onion tripod for the ceremony, and I didn't bring it out for the speeches, and I just regret it because it has a fluid head and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember when we?
I was manhandling that camera.
I remember.
So
that.
embarrassing.
Do you remember when we first started Runway Vows, our first wedding, maybe second, Erica and Tanner, when we had a bunch of the FTF tripods laying around, and we figured we were going to use the FT. We were just like, yeah, let's just use our FTF tripods.
Tanner.
Do you remember Salt Lake up at the Falls place?
Or our first Sony
C70. I think it was our first.
Erica and Tanner.
You remember Erica and Tanner? We slapped the mist filters on there, and we were going all handheld.
Oh, Erica and Tanner.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Tanner Valerio, and then I was thinking of Erica, the planner.
That was our first Sony.
And I was like...
No, Erica, you remember Erica and Tanner.
Yeah.
Do you remember, that was like, I think our second wedding, and we had a bunch of FTF tripods laying, FTF gear tripods.
I remember that day.
And
I remember I met Ben Duro that day.
Yeah, no, we only used FTF gear tripods, and we never used them again. Do you remember why? Because we had those heavy setups, and the head was always falling down after we set it. You would set it, and then it would just kind of fall like a half an inch. But when you're zoomed into 200 millimeters, that is cutting off somebody's head.
You had to set up here so it would get the, I remember that.
We were just guessing, like, okay, here's the groom. I got to adjust it so it's shooting slightly above because I'm going to lock it, and it's going to kind of fall down a little bit. So we never used them again after that. But it was kind of like, we just want to be as lightweight as possible, even though it was a local wedding. We're just like, we're just going to be light as possible.
New to the partnership.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing with the peak design. It's like you got to kind of adjust it a little weird because you got to tighten it and like hope it doesn't kind of move.
Yeah.
With the Pinta or like any solid fluid head, it's just lock, done.
It is frustrating. Yeah.
So I know for a fact we could set up the Pinta much, much faster. It'd be easier to use.
I agree.
But it's just heavier.
Yeah.
30 pounds instead of 9 after buying 3.
You know what also did it for me? What did me in? I think just we shot with Caleb. And
what did he use?
It was a Manfrotto, but it was the size of the Pinta. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I should see Caleb walking in with it over his shoulder. And I was like, that's a big tripod. And but I think he'll probably, I don't want to speak for him, but I just think the same thing. It's just reliable.
It is.
You either are opting for convenience and lightweight, easy to throw on and go.
Yeah.
Or reliability in any scenario that the planner throws at you.
And I mean, I know your favorite thing is kids at weddings. If a kid bumps into the peak design, GG's.
Which happened at New York.
Yeah.
People were stepping on it.
Yeah.
People kept walking past it.
And again, because it's so compact and it's lightweight, it's kind of like it's kind of out of the way. People don't notice it as much. something heavier duty, even if someone
Oh,
kind
I
of bumps
agree.
in,
Oh, I agree.
Nothing's gonna happen. You'll see it on camera, but it's not falling over, and that's what I care about.
Dude, a Pinta tripod setup for speeches,
With the
everyone's
big
walking
rubber
around it. No one's
yeah.
gonna walk in front of it. Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
some things to decide here.
Maybe we'll buy another one. Or we ask Pinta to sponsor us and we'll get a second one.
I see onion. Are you listening to this by chance?
Should reach out to them once this video drops.
Yeah. It should be live
Yeah.
by the time we're listening to this.
And apologize for the 6-month delay.
But hey, we'll use some more. But yeah, even though they did send us the tripods, this is like just our unapologetic thoughts.
Yeah, they didn't pay us.
Pay us.
No opinions, you guys. It was all just like, let us know what you think.
Yeah, and this is what we think.
Yeah. Big fans.
So this year we're going to be probably revisiting. We are revisiting our travel section because I feel like there's probably 2 different modules that need to be.
I just want to
created
teach it
out of
not so absolutely.
Right.
I wanted to say like, here's how we travel. Here's what we prefer, or even just like categorize it by saying like, if you're wanting to travel lightweight and on the go and quick run and gun, here's your options. If you're wanting to be more reliable, here's what the gear you have. Here's what you'll need: sticks,
Right.
bags, etc. And not say, oh, don't use a sticks bag. Travel like this. It's like, no. How would we just teach? If this is you, travel this way. If this is you, travel this way.
Yeah, I agree. I think we did a solid job. I mean, we decided this is how we travel.
Justice for all is going to be our motto.
Justice for all.
Freaking
Justice for
America.
everyone. Yeah, that's our thought on the tripod.
Yep. Great thoughts.
I feel like we hammered
Think
that
we beat the dead horse.
you beat it to death.
Yeah. Great.
What was that? What did Trump say to Biden when they were doing their debates or whatever? Or to Kamala? She's like, I beat something. Yeah, you beat it to death. Do you know what I'm talking about? What was the context?
Oh no, he's always unhinged.
So funny though. Yeah,
My favorite is
you
just
did.
Joe
You
mumbling,
beat it
and then
to
Trump
death.
just goes, I don't know what he said, but I don't think he knows what he said either. Anyways,
Yeah, you did.
I say
You
that all the
beat it
time.
to
I
death.
don't know what he said.
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
think he does either. Anyways. Anyway.
Well, we're gonna wrap this episode up.
Yep.
Again, yeah, the YouTube video on the Pints of Peak tripod is live right now. If you do want to go watch that, head on over to our Runaway Vows YouTube channel, not the podcast channel.
And new course video about comparing our 3 different
Exactly.
tripods is also live. Our updated 2025
Yep.
best tripod you should buy.
So with our
Comparison
YouTube
video.
videos, we're releasing more course videos with it too. Just keep everything updated, keep it nice and good
Yep.
and flowing. So that is it for
And
this week.
We'll link the tripod if you guys are curious below. We'll make sure Tanner puts in the link, the podcast show notes, along with our course if you're interested.
Yep. Any digital assets that were
No,
no?
not today. Love you all.
Check out the sound effects pack.
Love you.
Love that thing. Love you. Bye.